All right, this is going to be a screencast on the Chrome web browser and how Chrome can really help you work more efficiently, more creatively, and more collaboratively, and also just save you time in general. The nice thing about Chrome, it works on any device, iOS, Android, tablet, PC, MacBook, Chromebook. And the experience is pretty much similar throughout all those devices. So the nice thing is it's kind of like a one-stop shop for you browsing the web. And I'm just going to give you an overview of the browser window. So this is just an image with some pullouts here. So you see we have tabs, which are up here too as well. So I have a tab here and a tab here, and a tab. I can always add another tab. They changed the icon to a plus. It used to be a parallelogram, but now it's a plus to add a new tab. So you can go out to the web and search. And when you do add a new tab, you automatically are in the Omnibar. It's called the Omnibar because you can either search in the Omnibar or go directly to a website. So it can do many different things too as well. Your extensions are over here. You can see I have some extensions here. I'm currently using Screencastify to record this. I have an office editing extension. I have Google Cast for Education. I have an ad block. These things just add more capabilities to the browser than what it could not do before. We'll look a little further into extensions later on as well. Down below that is the Bookmarks bar. If I do Control-Shift-B, it allows me to show or hide my Bookmarks bar. You can see it kind of popping up here. I do that, when you are presenting, it's nice to get that out of the way because it's just less information and more screen space for you. But you can see that I have bookmarks to all different areas. We'll take a closer look at bookmarks too as well. And you also notice there's a star up here, and that's how you can bookmark any page. Throw it on your bookmarks bar or into another folder. Again, we'll talk a little bit more about bookmarks in a moment. When you do open a new tab, you do get a link to Gmail, images, and the waffle board or apps launcher it's called, as well as your profile. So when I do open a new tab, I get a direct link to my Gmail, Google Images, or the apps launcher, which lets me get to other apps that Google offers. And you can actually drag and drop these around too as well. I didn't mean to click on Google Maps in my app launcher, but basically you can then organize these to say, hey, you know what, I'm always going to Gmail, I'm always going to Drive, I'm always going to Maps. You can reorder these apps any way you like to. If you're in a school district, they might even have additional apps that are allowed or available to you that your school district may purchase or your business is made available. The notification, this comes from Google+, just kind of like Google's Facebook. And then finally your account information here, if you click on that, allows you to switch accounts or log out of an account, etc., etc. Also, there is the voice search option inside the Google tab too as well. That's really the only other piece there to the layout of the Chrome browser. If you'd like to learn more about Chrome and this really entertaining video, please feel free to click this, and just kind of shows you that it doesn't matter what device you're on, you get to your stuff. One of the main features of Chrome is having you being able to sign into Chrome. If you're on a PC or MacBook or desktop, you may have to actually go into the settings of the Chrome device. And when you go into the settings, this looks very similar. They used to look different if you're on a Chromebook versus a PC, but they've made that look a little easier. And you notice my sync is on. You'd have to log into your account. And what that does for you, it allows you to save passwords or credit card information of your choice. You never have to do that, addresses and more. So basically it just syncs that stuff amongst devices. So if I go home and I get on my MacBook instead of this Chromebook that I'm currently on, all my passwords are saved that I select that I want to go there. So again, that's in the Chrome menu. It's the 3 dots up here. Some people refer to it as a snowman, I guess a real skinny snowman. And going into the settings then is where you would find your people. And then you could even add more people and stuff like that too as well, or select a different icon. My wife, daughter, and son, we have a shared MacBook at home in the kitchen that we can flip into each profile so we can get to our stuff and not have to worry about, I bookmarked in your account and I don't have that bookmark in my account now, so you can flip over. On a Chromebook, it makes you sign into your Chrome OS operating system, which automatically also signs you into Chrome. And to manage that, you can log out and hit add new guests. And a lot of different people can log onto a Chromebook and have their own profiles then. But you can also log into a Chromebook, as I showed you briefly when I went to the new tab. When I clicked on my face over here, I can switch out to another account too and switch within the Chromebook too. But sometimes that gets glitchy, meaning that you create a document and it makes it in your personal side when you actually want it on your business or school district account. So a lot of times I'll go into incognito mode, which we'll talk about. If you need more information about signing into Chrome, it's right up here, and we'll talk more about what this does for you. So once you do sign in, one of the coolest features is the save passwords feature. So sometimes you're like, what is that password? And you go to the website and it fills it in automatically for you. And maybe it's wrong, or maybe you want to know what it is. If you do go to that Chrome menu, the three dots, the snowman, and basically in the search settings, it's a smart filter. So if I just type the word password, you can see that it says manage passwords, manage people. There it is. And basically here's all my different passwords for all my different websites that I may have visit. And anytime I can click this eyeball and it'll show me that password. Now, if I do this now, it actually will show you the password. I'm not going to do that here, obviously. But on a PC, it'll ask you to sign into the PC, or on a MacBook, it'll actually make you sign into the MacBook again. So it just doesn't show you that. But on a Chromebook, for some reason, it just automatically shows you those passwords. So if another kid gets on someone else's device and they know this information, they can go into the settings on someone else's account if the kid went to the bathroom or something like that, and they could type password and they could get in here to see that. Oops. Then another, that's something that we have to be aware of, but also remember that it's nice too, because you can say, man, I forget my password for this. Well, you can actually go in and look and dig into it and see what it is. Okay, we're going to talk a little bit about tabs right now. The nice feature of tabs is they're very kind of like a physical tab. You can grab this up here, click and hold it, and then you can reorder tabs. So if you're hopping between like a presentation and some information, and these tabs are too far apart, you don't have to like play tennis and popping back and forth and back and forth. If you need that site right next to this presentation now, you can slide those tabs and grab and slide them. You can even pull that tab out by grabbing it and pulling down, and now it's pulling it outside its window. If I use the multiple switcher window key on my Chromebook, you see now that that presentation is outside of this window. And I have three windows open. One window has 1, 2, 3, 4, or 3 tabs. This one has 1, and this one looks like it has 1 as well. If I want that tab to come back then and put it in that window, I just drag it down again. And messed up there, and I drag it down again. And then when I pull my mouse and float over top of the tab bar up here, it pops it back into the window. So you can pop it out or pop it in and slide the tabs in different orders too as well. If you do close something, so for instance, if I was working on this website, which I am, and I'm like, I need that website back. Real quick way to do that, if you do right click on a tab, you'll see that it says reopen closed tab, but the shortcut there is Control-Shift-T. So if I just do Control-Shift and then hit the letter T, it'll reopen my last closed tab. And that's just like a history of closed tabs. So if I do it again, it'll open up the other tab that I just closed before. So there's the website that I was working on, and the last tab before that was a new tab. And all that is really doing is going into that Chrome menu, that 3 dots snowman guy, and go into your histories, and then you can see that there's a list of recently closed tabs. So these are all the different tabs that I had open recently. So if I do Control-Shift-T, 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 these will all open up too as well. Also notice there, all your history is at Control-H. So this is a nice way that you can see what your students were on for the class period. If they say, yeah, I've been working pretty hard, you can just walk over, hit Control-H, you can see exactly what they've been working on and what tabs or websites they've been on. That Control-Shift-T is really valuable too for classroom management. If you know a kid closed a site they're not supposed to be on or off task, you can quickly go Control-Shift-T and you can actually see what page they were on before they closed it. Another quick tip, if you hit Control-1, it goes to the first tab you have open. Control-2 goes to the second tab. Control-3, Control-4, Control-5, you get the idea. So your tabs are numbered. So if you hold down the Control key, it'll let you iterate between those open tabs depending upon what position they are in. Another nice feature that people don't realize, if you have gone from a website to another, if you click and hold down the back arrow, it shows you actually all the different sites you've been on. So you don't have to go hit back. You can go hop back to a specific site you were on pretty quickly by clicking and holding on that back button. All right, so that's a little bit of tab management. One of the other features that I really like with Google and other, I mean, this is very similar to Firefox and Edge and all the other browsers. So a lot of times I'll have my Google Drive open for the day and maybe my calendar open for the day. And I don't want to close them or they take up too much space up here. So I'll just right click on the tab and hit Pin Tab. And what that does, if you notice, is it made the tab real small and it lost its X and it all shifts it all the way to the left. So I have my calendar open most days just so I know what the heck's going on for the day. Again, now I have these smaller tabs parked over here on the left-hand side. Makes it a little bit harder to close them by accident too as well. One of the shortcuts you should know too to manage some students, we'll talk about shortcuts in a moment, but this one's relevant, is the close tab is Control W. You can always pin a tab, and then if you need to unpin it, just right click on the tab again to hit unpin to get that X back. But if you don't need the X to close the tab, you can do Control W. Again, a nice classroom management tool in the classroom when you need to walk by and you told the kids, hey, you have 3 tabs open, classroom, your document, and some website, and you walk by and a kid has 17 tabs open. You already told him a few times. Well, you can just hit Control W, Control W, Control W, and it'll continue to close all his tabs. Or again, if you click the X, it'll close the whole window out. So pinning tabs allows you to keep things where they are. One more advanced trick is the control click allows you to pull out tabs together. So maybe I have this presentation and a couple websites that I want to kind of take separate from another set of work that I'm working on. If I click on this first tab, then hold Control and click the next one, and then click and hold on that last one and pull down, it'll pull all 4 of those tabs out at one time. And now I have those 4 tabs in its own window, and my calendar and Google Drive are separate. So like for this instance, maybe I don't want people to see my calendar while I'm making a screencast. Well, now I can stay within this window, and those 2 tabs are still around, but they're just not in the viewing area. So controlling click allows you to pull out a whole bunch of tabs together. I talked a little bit about some shortcuts already. The Control-Shift-T opens a recently closed tabs. Control-W closes a tab. Control-Tab just iterates between your open tabs. Again, might make it quicker to switch between your open tabs by doing Control-Tab. Or if you're not sure which tab is which, it lets you quickly go through with Control-Tab. Everyone should know about Control-C, Control-X, and Control-V for cut, copy, pasting text. I read an article one time that if you use these 3 shortcuts only when you're working with text, it actually saves you about 8 hours a year instead of coming down to your touchpad or your mouse and right clicking on text to cut it, copy it, or paste it. These shortcuts can save you a lot of time. Another one is Control plus, Control minus, and Control 0. So if you're on a website and you wanted to zoom in on maybe this information here for students, you could hit Control plus and it'll zoom in on a website. You see it gets a little bigger. And then you can move over a little bit to show them that information a little bit easier too as well. And then Control minus just zooms out, and then Control 0 goes back to 100% zoom. Again, they're just shortcuts for going into the Chrome menu, and you see the minus and plus here. So Control minus, Control plus can change your zooming levels on a website. So if you need to see something a little bit better, or maybe you're getting old like me and you just need to be able to read something, Control click is kind of convenient. If you don't want this, maybe this link to replace this presentation, you could right click on it and then open that link in a new tab. But if you hit Control, hold down the Control key, and then click, it automatically will open up any link into a new tab too as well. Control Shift question mark will give you an extensive list of, now it's Control Alt question mark. On a Chromebook, will show you shortcuts to a Google Chromebook. Control T is just like clicking this plus tab to create a new tab. Control F is nice as well. If I do Control F and I type the word job, or what do we have, a delay, it'll look for that word delay on any website and show you how many times that's happened on a website. So Control F is a really nice one. The students know, because when they're looking for something on a long web page, Control F can get them there quicker, not wasting so much time. There's even more shortcuts than you can imagine. If you click here, all really built for accessibility features. All laptops, MacBooks, Chromebooks have accessibility shortcuts built in because some people cannot manipulate a mouse or touchpad. So the keyboard is their only method of input. Okay, a little bit more about going into the Chrome box or the Omni box of Google Chrome. If you'd like to learn more, again, a lot of the stuff links out to more information. You can search Google, obviously, with this, but there's so much more you can do with it. One of the tricks, you can just actually start typing an equation or an expression there, like 45 times 78, and it shows you the answer right there. You don't really need to actually hit enter. If you do hit enter, I'm just going to open this new tab so I don't lose the presentation, and you do enter in that expression, mathematical calculation, it'll open up a calculator for you that is totally manipulated. Here you can click on it. So it's kind of like a little widget built into Google search for you. There's lots of these little widgets that I will show you. I'm going to slide this tab over. Let me hop into it shortly. I'm going to close some other tabs too as well, or windows. Just make my screencast go a little bit more smoothly. For example, if you do define hipster, it basically comes up with the definition. This is kind of a neat tool here too as well, a little widget that it has built in. You just use define. I did Pygmalion the other day. We were working in it. Class, so it gives you a quick definition, or I can say hipster. Gives you this little widget of defining it. You can even listen to it. Also, the thing is, this little arrow drops down. You can see kind of where it comes from, its origin. You can even see over time how this word has been used, the kind of when it surfaces in books. This is coming from actually Google Books. You can click on this graph. It's called an engram viewer, and it actually shows you how many times the word hipster appears in all the books that Google has scanned, and it's thousands or millions of books that they've scanned so far. Notice the different capitalization matters, but you can turn that off, and then it'll just put all that in together into one thing. But a really neat tool, this engram viewer, because you can actually talk to kids about, hey, why was it so popular in 1965? And you can get into that vocabulary piece of and history how to relate it. So that's a neat little tool. You can also just type timer 3 minutes, and it'll just start a timer for you. One tool I do prefer over that is basically is the Egg Timer website. The nice thing about this is a website that I can bookmark, and then if I bookmark them, I can create a timer folder. And I'm just going to create a new folder called timers. Hit save. And that ended up in my bookmarks down here because I have so many. Drag that folder up. Anytime you have any issues with bookmarks, you can just right-click on things, and generally you can delete them or rename them. So again, if you just right-click on the bookmark bar up here, you can add a page or a folder. So now what I can do is bookmark this. It doesn't make sense. It says 1:53. That was just the time that I bookmarked it at. So I can go ahead and edit the name of that. I can call it a 2-minute timer, or I can just say 2-minute. And then what I continue to do, since Egg Timer is a website, I'll show you what the website looks like. It's just a little tip. Is if I put in 5 minutes, 10 minutes in this box, or 15 minutes and hit go, that is basically a website then. And now I can bookmark it and throw it into my timers folder. And now I have two of them. Well, it doesn't really make sense. They 14:57 when it's really a 15-minute timer. So I click on that and hit edit. And basically it's called a 15-minute one. And what I can do quickly then is have basically timers at a real quick area so I can manage my students' work. A lot of times you get stuck working with a student, you're like, oh, I just missed the time, we're all out of time. So timers can kind of keep you on track too of working with students when they're out there. So I do like that because you can create a folder of timers with a type of program like Egg Timer. There's many other timer tools out there too as well. Even more, you can say, roll a die or flip a coin in the Omni box, and it actually rolls dice for you. There's even like area of a circle. If you do that search in Google, it comes up like a little widget again that you can put in the radius, gives you the formula. So if I put in 4, it calculates it 4. You can search for circumference too as well, and the radius of 5, and it's what the circumference is. And again, this arrow just gives you more information down below if you'd like to see it. There's lots of mathematical things like graph y equals x squared, and that'll graph you, yep, give you a little dynamic graph here that you can zoom in and out of. Not super robust, but a little quick way to see graph if you'd like to. There's even fun ones like if you do a barrel roll to Google, it actually does a barrel roll. Or if you say askew, when you do it, everything, all your results are kind of askew on the line here too as well. So they have a good sense of humor, Google, and have lots of different ways that you can have fun with the Omnibox. And here's some more over here if you'd like to check them out. We talked a little bit about bookmarking. So Control-Shift-B shows or hides a bookmark bar. And really, again, that's all doing is going into the Chrome menu and going into Bookmarks. And then you notice it says Show Bookmarks Bar. So if you don't see your Bookmarks bar, Control-Shift-B should show them. Some districts actually have this not knowingly blocked for teachers, and it's not on. So you might need to talk to your Google Apps admin to tell them to give you the feature of being able to show your bookmarks bar. You can even go into the Bookmark Manager. This is when you want to do some heavy lifting with your bookmarks, or dragging them around, creating new folders. So it's kind of like My Computer, where you have folders, and this is where all your bookmarks are. And then you can drag and drop things in. You can also right-click things and delete them. I could also just right-click up here, say on that timers one, and just hit delete too as well to delete those bookmarks. So Bookmark Manager just gives you a little bit more features than if you just go ahead and right-click around. One thing that I have seen teachers not really manage their bookmark bar area is if I'm going to YouTube and I hit bookmark, I don't really need to have it say YouTube. So if I do bookmark that, I'll show you what it looks like. There it is there. And maybe you go to YouTube a lot. But you notice here, I just have the YouTube icon versus just the icon with the word YouTube. So when you edit or when you bookmark something, if you just take the name out of it and hit save, then it just gives you the icon or the fave icon of that website. So I know that's YouTube. I don't need to waste space on my bookmark bar. I'm going to right click and delete that because I already have that. So this is an easy way for me to fit more bookmarks on my bar. So that's my Google Calendar, that's my Gmail, that's my Drive, there's YouTube. Inbox is no longer available, so delete that one. So these are all my bookmarks, and I know what these icons are, so there's no reason for me to have names. Also, sometimes they'll give you a long name when you bookmark something, so you can't edit that into like district emails. So again, just saving you some space on your bookmark bar. Using folders and dragging things into the folder, it works well too as well. So I can drag bookmarks anywhere I'd like to on my bookmark bar and reorder them or things like that. Again, if you need to do some heavy lifting with your bookmarks, meaning organize them, you should go to the Chrome menu and go to Bookmarks Manager. This is a place you also can import some bookmark to as well. I believe that's up here. So if you have your favorites in Microsoft Edge or Internet Explorer, or if you have in Firefox and you're trying to move over to Chrome, you can import your bookmark here, or even export to move them to another web browser if you'd like to. All right, so that's a little bit about bookmarks. If you need to learn more, this link will take you out to more information on bookmarks. This kind of summed up basically what I was just talking about with bookmarks. One real cool one that I forgot, the main reason I have a presentation to remind myself, is like, say if you're working on a project and you have these 5 tabs open. Well, I'll close this one, does that make sense? These 4 tabs open, you're like, I don't have more time to work on this, but I want to get back to it later. Instead of having all tabs open all day long so you don't lose them, you can right-click on the bookmark in the window, and then you can say bookmark all tabs. And what this does is it creates a folder and bookmarks all those at the same time. So I'll just call this Chrome Professional Learning Webinar or something like that. So that's going to be the name of the folder. I hit save. Again, I have a lot of bookmarks, so it flew over top of the end of it. I'm going to bring up that Chrome PL webinar folder. And now you can see that a bookmark presentation, Costco article, the professional learning site, and Luna Pick. We'll talk about those tools in a little bit, all into one page or one folder. A really neat feature of this then is after maybe you close all these, I'm not going to close them now, you can right click on that folder in your bookmarks bar and you can open them all 4 at one shot. So if you had like 10 tabs, you can bookmark them in one shot. And then when you get back to that work, you can open them all again in one shot. A lot of times that's what I'll do when I'm preparing for a training. I'm doing research, I'm finding things, I bookmark things all into a folder, and then right before I'm about to present, I'll pull in things that I need so I can quickly get to those sites and things while I'm presenting out the fumble around looking for them. And my saying is always, when in doubt, right click on any tab to give you some more information. I showed you where that bookmarks manager was. These are just some bookmarks. You can click out and check it out and try it out if you'd like to. By doing it, you're going to learn these little tricks and tips for you. All right, Google Chrome also offers incognito mode. And basically, again, in the Chrome menu, if you go to the Chrome menu, you should see new incognito window. A lot of times districts have this closed off because they want to save everything that anyone's working on their account so they can keep kids honest and maybe even help a kid. We don't want to have them not being able to be tracked. Generally, your filters track everything, so this is just another security feature. But when you go into incognito mode, it basically means that you're kind of signed out of anything. And you notice when I try to go to Google Drive, it didn't sign in. So this is a nice way that you can maybe log into your personal account at the same time that you're logged into your school district or business account in the regular mode. If you notice, when I hopped out into incognito mode, it kind of gave a black feeling around it. So now I can be in my personal account and not mess up being in my school district account, meaning that like when I create a doc, it doesn't make it in the wrong account. I can keep those separate. This is also a nice feature when a kid wants to come up and log into their stuff on your maybe your teacher laptop to present to this class. You can just go into incognito mode and they can sign into their account. Once you do close the incognito mode window, it actually signs you out. And even if you go back into incognito mode, you'd have to sign back into that account. It doesn't remember history either. So if you do Control-Shift-T, it won't remember what tab you closed either. All right, one of the ways to enhance the Chrome browser and add features that weren't built in natively to Google Chrome is using the Chrome Web Store. Just like the Play Store for Android phones or the App Store for iOS phones, the Chrome has a web store too as well, where you can find apps and extensions and even themes. And when you open a new tab, instead of seeing like a blank background, you can add like an ocean view in the back here, or color code your tabs and things like that with different themes. So I'm just going to click on information on how to install an extension, remove an extension. But basically in the Chrome Web Store is where you can go shopping for these things. And one of the ones I'm going to show you helps students who maybe get distracted easily. Your extensions get installed to the right of the Omnibox. You can slide that Omnibox smaller if you don't want to see them. When you do that, all it does is knock those extensions down into the Chrome menu. Might clean up your view for students so they're not distracted by all the extensions maybe you install. I highly suggest of not installing a million extensions. Remember, you're giving them rights to view your history generally when you install apps and extensions, so make sure you trust those apps and extensions and do a little bit of research before you just install stuff. A lot of times just asking others on what extensions they use, the best way to go about it. We also have some resources in this presentation for just recommended extensions. So basically, when you go into the Chrome Web Store, I'm going to show you one called Mercury Reader. It basically clears away the clutter. So when I go into the Chrome Web Store, click here directly right in there. I could have went to the Chrome Web Store and searched for Mercury Reader. And here it is here. I can click on it. And then if I'd like to do it, I can hit Add to Chrome. A lot of times I can look how many people are using it. 1.3 million users. It's got 4 stars. So that generally means that it's pretty good. Otherwise, people will be like, oh, this is junk. But you can read a little bit about it. You can see some slideshow or images and a quick slideshow to see what it's about to as well. So basically what this does, when you add it to Chrome, and it installs a little piece of code, and now it's up here in my Chrome browser extension area. So when I go to a website, I have to refresh it to let it know that it's here. A lot of times kids are going to read articles and there's all types of information along the side of an article and below an article and comments down below and just a lot of distracting information. This video up top too as well. And you know as well as I do, when you get on the web, sometimes you're like, oh, that's pretty interesting. I'd like to talk more about, this Pennsylvania may pay off my mortgage or something, this junk ad here. If you click out and then all of a sudden a half hour later, like, hey, what was I doing on the web anyway? The nice thing is when I click Mercury Reader, it basically cleans up that article and makes it just the article itself, getting rid of the ads and all the other information around it. So this is a nice way if you have to do a lot of reading to give your eyes a break. Because if you notice that first version of this article, it's very busy and your eyes are still and your brain is still looking at this stuff. You can't not force your brain to kind of bring that information in. So it's just taxes your brain and your energy as you have to do a lot of reading online. And it's just another way that might help kids focus a little better, especially for those weaker readers. And reading online is a totally different experience than reading with paper, so it takes practice too as well. So there's just one example of an app or an extension that the Chrome Web Store offers. There are other apps in there, but basically what apps are just shortcuts to their web app. So for example, PicMonkey, it really is just a shortcut to go to PicMonkey website and use it for picture editing. So there's lots of different apps, but again, they're basically shortcuts. Sometimes there are extensions like Mercury Reader that enhance the Chrome browser. But for example, LunaPic is a website that I can go to. If I install LunaPic from the Chrome Web Store, all it's going to do is make a shortcut in my launcher to LunaPic. And if I use it a lot, I could just bookmark it too as well. LunaPic allows you to upload an image. I'll just upload one that I was working on today and basically edit it in a full-blown editor, sort of like Photoshop, a simpler version of that. So for example, today I wanted to take this backpack and make the background white transparent. So when I put it on a website, I didn't see this big white box. So LunaPic has an ability to do that by going into the edit menu after you upload it and going to a transparent background. And then if you just click on what color you want to become transparent, it'll look for that color and make the whole thing transparent. And then I can apply it, and then I can now download that image and use it as a background that is transparent. So that's an example of a web application that can be found in the Chrome Web Store, but a lot of times it just is just a website. One of the Chrome extensions that I think everyone should know about is how to screencast, really the skill of how to screencast. Screencastify is not the only extension or app that does this. There's Screencast-O-Matic, there's QuickTime from Apple. A lot of them do this. The reason why I like Screencastify, it works on all Chromebooks, and it's just an extension. I'm actually using it right now to record this screencast too as well. I'll just show you some other ways that they've used it. When you do use Screencastify, I think the most powerful feature besides teachers using it may be to do a feedback for student writings. They can record their voice and send it to the students, give a little bit more depth to their feedback. But kids can use this too as well. And here's an example of Madison in 4th grade using it for order of operations.
Hi everyone, I'm Madison, and I'm going to be showing you how to use order of operations.
And I'm just going to fast forward so you can see what it looks like.
What we have to do is start in the brackets. They're like another form of parentheses, and as you can see, we have parentheses in the brackets, so we're going to start at that. We have an exponent, so do 2
You can also
times 2
speed up
times 2
YouTube
times 2,
videos.
and you should get 16. Now let's solve 16 minus 3, which is 13. Now let's move on to our next parentheses, still inside the bracket.
You get the idea. The student's using communication to build her understanding deeper than just doing it. This is a student who already knew how to do order operations. So that's a way we could differentiate for her in the classroom. Here's where you can use Screencastify as a video camera, where a student wasn't able to meet with her teacher, but this is a way that she could record her guitar recording and send it to her music teacher. Nice way that we can use it in world language classroom, or in this case where students are reading to themselves, they can hear themselves read, which really builds fluency. If you want to learn more about Screencastify, it's just an extension that runs up in the Chrome browser. Once you record it, you can click on this tutorial link that's down below to get to it as well. So that's just another extension. If you don't like the extension or like, I don't really use Mercury Reader, when in doubt, you always right-click on it, and that's how you can remove it from Chrome. So that it's not sitting there stealing bandwidth, taking data from you too as well of where you travel the web, and that's why things are free. Okay, hopefully that helps you out with Google Chrome and understanding how to leverage it a little bit better. And